Before the dawn of the sun, I keep my eye on the moon. Taking off on latitude like the witch on the broom. Flying balloon, solar disc rising over lagoon. Bending a spoon, God is start, a symbol of the baboon. Man is sky crazy. Greetings. Welcome back to a space called the House of Jehuti. And today we're going to be talking about the killing of the ego. One of the most controversial subjects, especially amongst the spiritual communities, walk spaces, we know ego as this culprit who have been branded as, a hindrance, posing as a deterrent on one's spiritual journey to self-knowing and inner development, according to the Oxford Dictionary that I flipped through earlier on, which is giving me a definition that ego is actually taking primacy in one's recognition of one's importance, one's significance, so ego is awareness of that self-importance, you understand, also called the anima, translating to consciousness. Consciousness is awareness, which gets me to be pensive, enough now trying to exonerate this wrongly accused guy, you understand. I don't think that ego is the culprit. I don't think that ego is the bad guy here, because also according to theosophy, as one of the branches of spirituality, which professes that as like mankind, we are womankind, from that godly state, the mirroring, the reflection of the netters, the logos, the cosmic archetypes, the gods and the goddesses, you understand, men, women, we sort of like regressed, understand, out of accumulating bad karma. We regressed into being humans, and even worse, we regressed like even furthermore to being human beings, the only thing that we are concerned about is becoming, becoming, but while we were still like the gods and the goddesses, the men and women, we were at the state of being, not being, so theosophy professed that being a woman, we understand that is a God state, is the reflection of the godhood, of the God body. Hence we are the likeness and the images of the divine. We are one out of that divine spark that made us to be men, that made us to be women, and out of now accumulating bad karma by getting more engaged into earthly affairs, you understand that our egos started to be petrified, started to take a form of solidity, so much that we completely stopped from being men and women, you understand, and then our egos, they like devoluted into being a state of humans. So being human is being aware of now the mortal self. And then while we were still like men and women, understand, we were vibrating in a state of being like this infinite consciousness, interconnected to every aspect within the animated realm of space-time, and then we stopped to be our gods and the goddesses, understand, and then we became humans, and then furthermore we devoluted, as the wheel of evolution was keep on gliding. We devoluted down to this abasement state of being human beings, so being a human being means that you are just carrying a flickering spark of the divine, you understand. So from being men, women, according to theosophy, That's a state of monadism. That's a state of being, the reflection, the likeness, the image of the God, the divine body. You understand? Meaning that you are a vessel of this divine light. You understand? So by the time we devoluted into being now humans, it means that that God light essence was halfly murdered. You know, so being a human means that you are semi-divine. Basically, you just have like the half of the spark of the monad, which carries the full blast of the divine spark, you know, as a vessel, as the Holy Grail, you know. So furthermore to being now a human being, that spark is now flickering, you know. So it's more of like, you know, each phase is carrying, you know, a slightly depleted part of the light from the former carrier, you know, down to being human beings, you know, the quaternary self, their personality. So it's the monad, it's the human being, the ego, and it's the personality, which is the quaternary self, you know. So I think the culprit is the quaternary self, not the ego, because the role now within the whole structure of the microcosm, the godhood reflection, human beings, us. The ego was created to be this vessel that hosts that semi-divine light from Imonat, from the full blast of a divinity within a human being coming from the cosmic realm. Yeah, so the ego was supposed to be the son after the father, after the monad. We understand, having now to influence the lower vibratory existence of the personality. So the ego is the one that's supposed to crystallize the personality, to align the threefold, the monad, the ego, which is the human in us, you know. And now that ego, that human ego, you know, is the one that is supposed to be accounting for the evolution and the nourishment of the lower realms within man, within a woman, you know, by default. Yeah, well, so the ego isn't necessarily the culprit, yeah, well, but the role of the ego, you know, can be so crucial if the ego can be conscientized to be one of the celestial consciences, you know, because according to the old African system of the pantheology, you know, the pantheon of the Kemite system have also included Set. Set, we've been knowing Set as the epitome or the representation of the ego, you know, that those darker attributes within us. We have those forces of entropy, we have forces of chaos, we have embodied by this divine cosmic principle known as Uset. You know, so they say Uset represents the ego, but honestly, if the ego wasn't supposed to be the part of the, you know, the whole pantheon system, you know, Set wouldn't have been there as a part of the cosmic chronomythography, you know, with the icon that he's portrayed with, we understand, and his role within the whole Neteru system. We understand he's there because the element called the ego in us, that self-awareness, that anima in us, was supposed to be the vessel that passes down the divine light from the monad, from the Holy Grail, you understand, and passes it down to the denser lower realms, you understand, the what we call the mortality, you know, the immorality, you know, within men. So I'm just here trying to exonerate this this wrongly accused guy. He's being a fugitive, you know, like running all over because he's being wrongly accused. I think I also stand to be corrected, you know. The House of Jehudi is a space basically for sharing, you understand? So you all are free to engage in this and to cast more anecdotes and insights, you know, that will be so vital now for expanding and expounding, you know, in such matters, because they are matters that concerns the inner archetypes of the soul. You understand? We are the souls. We are the spirit souls, you know, having the human experience on this blank field patterning of time and space, you know. So, according to this microcosm, also consisting or comprising rather of the 7 realms within the 7 spheres, you know, this physical body is an emanation of other, you know, ethereal bodies within me, you know. So primarily we have this physical body, you know, which is of the threefold, you know, threefold of the emotions, the willpower, and the intellect, you know, that also makes, you know, this microcosm being, you know, of conscious, of subconscious, and unconscious, you know, the threefold, understand? We are the threefold beings, basically. But above that, because that's a phenomena subjected to space-time. Above space-time, we can transcend that sort of school of thoughts. We are also of the, you know, septenary makeup. You know, we have 7 spheres, 7 bodies. You know, these physical bodies, I've said, it's an emanation of the other etheric or subtle bodies within me, you know. So respectively, we have this gross physical body that you can see living time and space, eating, dressing, you know. Above this physical body, we are of the astral body, housing our emotions, you know, your feels, what and whatnot, you know. And above that, we have the mental sheath. The mental sheath is not even considered as a body, but is a spin-off from the first emanations, you know, the physic and the astral, your emotions, what and whatnot. So they build up to the mental sheath, and above that we have the etheric body. The etheric body is a storehouse for life, you know. That's what stores life. That's where the prana, the life essence, you know, the nyama, the sekem, you know, the life essence, the fuel that keeps the engine of life going, you understand? That's where it comes from the etheric body, you understand? We have 7 chakras. These 7 chakras, they are spiritual downloads of messages from other etheric planes, you know, using what? The etheric body, you know. So above the etheric body, we have the Buddhic, which is the life energy, and Buddhic, and then we also have the Atma, which is the cosmic God energy, and above that we have the realm of the Neteru or Izolamatongo, the Logos, you know. So these 7 spheres within a microcosm, they were, you know, sacredly designed to correspond with 7 spheres. Like some of us, we've read the book of Enoch, the sage who transcended the physical realm of space-time to the 7th heaven. Some of us are familiar with that story. So these 7 heavens, basically, they are septenary, or rather 7 spheres of consciousness, this godly consciousness, you understand, from start to, you know, to its own termination elsewhere, you know, before taking its shape to another form of energy, you understand? So these 7 spheres corresponds with the 7 or rather septenary self, you know, that's is reflected by these 7 bodies within a microcosm, you know. So particularly with the mental sheath and the astral body within, they serve as the detrimental agents. They are catabolic towards the physical body, right? The first body, like this emanation that houses these other bodies, you know. Although this physical body is mortal, as an emanation from the other bodies, you understand. Particularly with the two, which is the astral and the mental sheath, astral body, mental sheath, they can be detrimental to the physical body. Hence, our negative thoughts, our wrong motives, our dense emotions, you know, our depressions, our anxieties, they do not resonate well with our body tissues. You understand? That's something that also culminated to things like diseases, ailments, you know, sicknesses, what and what not. Basically, our, you know, biological energy wasn't made to function, you know, properly under irresonant thoughts that are dense and bad, basically. You understand? Yeah. Because now these other bodies, they have to be aligned. If not aligned, that too can make one result into, you know, things like schizophrenia, you know, mass hysteria, you know, and things like that, you know, because of the misalignment within these bodies. So as the, you know, people on the path of a spiritual quest, you know, it is vital, it is of like, you know, prime significance that at times, you know, we find space and time to quiet and, you know, quiet the mind and silence the fields, you know, for a moment and breathe, you understand, and connect to the etheric body, because it is the etheric body within these 7 spheres, the sacred spheres, you understand, corresponding to the 7 cosmic spheres. It is the etheric body that serves as a domain of spiritual downloading from other parallel planes. You understand that this chakra system downloads our messages from other, you know, realms or planes, using the etheric body, you know, in us within the variety of these 7 spheres. You understand? So if the threefold that we primarily spoke about, you know, housing the, you know, the monad, the ego, and the personality, which is the animal self, the anima, the quaternary self, the culprit, you understand? Now, if the threefold, you understand, is aligned, especially with the lower dimensions of the 7, as we are also the septenary makeup, talking about the first one, which is this physical one, and the astral one, the emotions, and the mental sheath. You understand that these 3, the first 3, those ones, they concern our base living, you know, here on earth, you know, in this 3D limited realm. You understand? So they are the one that are an impetus to the solidity of the personality. They are the ones that blind the ego, we understand, and not to do its own work, to pass down the divine messages, you know, to the animal self, you understand? Yeah. So the system of the animal self, the concept of the animal self is also reflected on how the ancient sages, you know, are portrayed in, you know, past historical timelines, riding you know, beast, you know, horses, mules, asses, you know, like that. So that also carries the same spiritual significance of now crystallizing the ego with the divine spark from the monad. You understand? Let the monad pass it to the ego, and let the ego now do its own prime work. you know, bypassing that semi-divine spark to the persona, to the animal self, right? The beast in you, you understand? Crystallize the animal within, you understand? So we've heard like statements like, "Yeah, both wolves are inside of you." Depends which one you feed the most. So the one that you feed the most will be the one who will thrive, who will take sway, you understand? But remember that an angry dog is a hungry dog. A hungry dog is an angry dog. I mean, yeah, but it doesn't mean you have to starve the other one. You know, both of these extremities, because it's a realm of time and space, you know, catalyzed by duality or polarity. So both of these extremities, they are worth of living and experience. We get to learn, you know, we get to reach the optimum decision out of weighing both sides, you understand, in the valley of decision, where you get to see both sides. So it's a process of growth, it's a process of evolution, mental evolution, astral or emotional evolution, and physical evolution. So moral evolution as well, you know, sparking this grandeur evolution of the spirit, because we are the spirit, we are the energy, we are that awareness, that consciousness, you understand, having to manifest in space-time as a microcosm, as a septenary living sentient beings, and who are also of it threefold, as we have mentioned on the above segment. So trying to exonerate the ego, let us try to crystallize and to fully understand what the ego is. It is the inner awareness, it is the inner eye within a man and a woman, you know, as a reflection of the gods and the goddesses. You understand that it can actually spark the whole atonement of the lower densities, the lower realms, the quaternary self, the personality, the anima within us, not the ego per se, but the shadow of the ego, we understand. So the ego has to do its own work, you know, bypassing that divine light from the monad to the lower dimensions, you understand, the mortal self. I thank you very much. Please cast your insights. This is not written on rocks. I've discovered these things and thought I might just, you know, share with y'all. So y'all are welcome also to, you know, partake in this talk, you know. So please like, share, subscribe. And until we see each other on the next episode, I would like to thank you very much. Gratitude, gratitude, gratitude. Ashe. Before the dawn of the sun, I keep my eye on the moon. Taking off on latitude like the witch on the broom. Flying balloon, solar disc rising over lagoon. Bending a spoon, God is thought a symbol of the baboon. Man is sky